I've been changing up my LEGO City downtown core layout, and today I want to try and refine some of those changes, because when you shift things around, well, it just creates the snowball effect where you got to do a bunch of cleanup and fix some things up. So I actually added a nice angle to the canal. I like this angle right here, but across the way from it, we've got some harsh right angles. Those don't look too good at all. But we've got this 16 by 32 base plate right there, the ugly exposed green one that actually has a spackle of paint on it, and I'm going to include that in the canal design because I wanted to build a bridge there before. But when I removed the idea for a vehicle bridge, freed up all that space. So now I can use this extra space to try and make this canal look a lot better. Just because this right angle right there, or right angle right there, and this weird triangle doesn't look too good at all. So I want to fix that up. Also, I've got a bunch of random plates here. There's the 16 by 32 dark bluish gray and the 32 by 32 green. And then we've got the farmer's market and also the Spring Lantern Festival. And by the construction site, we've got this other random plate and another 16 by 32. So I want to try and consolidate some of that park space. And I've got to fix this up as well because this vehicle is literally just like hanging out there. It doesn't make any sense. And that's right behind the Octane gas station. So yeah, I want to try and tidy some of this stuff up. Let's start with the canal. I originally built it this way because I thought there was going to be a bridge here for vehicles. But that's no longer the case. I've got this space to work with. So all I have to do now is just rip out this masonry wall here and then probably rip this out as well. This is the half base plate that connects to the angled part. So just rip out half of this. And then I can have this widen there so it can make up for the difference here. And I'll try to put an angle in that matches this angle and connects to this raised section of the wall. And is it going to go on this plate? I'll have to just play around with that angle and see if it in fact has to infringe on this plate or not. I don't think so. But then I can take this and I can nose plate this and we can make this a nice walkway leading up to the canal. People can come, oh, gawk at the canal, wow, that's so cool. And then they can walk this way toward the other section of the LEGO City. And maybe we're going to put a bridge in here. I still need to come up with my bridge design. It is going to be sort of strange because in some cases it's going to go from the high ground to the low ground. So the bridge will look sort of funky. It's almost going to be like steps more so. But there's going to be a lot of places where it's also high ground to high ground or low ground to low ground. After messing around with some 6x6 wedge plates, I know, I wish I had the bigger ones. I just don't. So I'm using 6x6s. That's why it looks like that on that side. It is what it is. Maybe one day I'll make that part sub, but for now I just want to build this canal with the parts that I have. And I was also messing around with some hinge plates. I came up with this angle right here, which I think looks pretty good. That sort of matches up with the other side. And the hinged part matches up with the wedge plates, which is good. And this is 16 studs all the way across, which will match the straights. So I like that. It looks like I will be integrating this additional half base plate into it because I may as well just include this in my module here. Because once again, this raised walkway is going to go all the way along. And then down here, there'll be a lower section which will connect to the sidewalk. And there'll be like a little vantage point right here. Maybe that's a good spot for an angled bridge. I don't know, let's not get distracted by bridges. Let's just focus on building this. Alrighty, I rebuilt this arched wall right here and the dark bluish gray angled wall. I built a hinge right into it, so it's blended in there. And then I replated all this, retiled it all, so that's good to go. And now I just need to work on completing this sidewalk and the conjoining area there. Hey, I like the look of that. That's much better, hey? That's sweet. Got rid of the right angle. There's no longer this massive, like, weird triangle. Here's what I like to call my slop pile, which I created while building this. For now, I decided to tile this all off in light gray because I'm not too sure what's going to go in this large triangular area here. I was thinking, actually it was suggested, maybe a restaurant, even if it's like a food cart, and then there's some places to sit, maybe a planter with a mid-sized tree. That might look pretty cool. I did go around and tidy up some of the tiling as well, like in addition to this. Specifically on the 6x6 ones there, I put some quarter rounds in and then just left like the 5 studs open. I think that looks a little bit cleaner than what it was before. I completed it on this side, but I ran out of the quarter round tiles on this side, so I've got to get some more of those or just scour through my part bin for a little bit longer. I did find like 15 in there, but I just didn't have it in me to look for another half an hour. I'm sure I've got the 7 more somewhere. And this would, of course, be a lot tidier if I were able to find, or if I had, the larger triangular plates rather than the 6x6s. It's just shocking to me that I don't even think I have an example here that I can show you. That's the 6x6, so that's what we used. And it's got these weird 2x spots on the side, which aren't a triangle, so this is not a perfect triangle. But the larger ones are. I for sure don't have them in light gray, and I don't think I have any at all, to tell you the truth. But you know what I mean. You've probably seen them before. They're like perfect triangular plates, and they're rather large. So that would help tidy that up a bit, but I just don't have any. And that's why there's these weird triangular cutouts there. So I could eliminate that with the larger plate. Before, I actually had dark bluish gray tile running underneath it, but I switched that up to trans blue, and I did that on the other side as well. Doesn't match like the exact color of the canal, but at least it looks like water now. But it is sort of strange how it goes down a plate. There's no way for me to put a plate underneath those tiles, because that would throw the height of everything off, because the angled part is a plate and a tile, and it's resting on top of a tile, which makes it a brick, and that's what everything else is. So if I start throwing a plate underneath there, it's gonna throw it off and make it look weird. So I'm just gonna have to live with that there. But there we have a nice angle. That looks so much better. I'm so happy with that. I've got a lot of open space here though, and I'll be able to create some really cool stories within that space. Oh yeah, that's definitely a lot better. I like that. That is awesome. I'm glad that we got the angle in here. Okay, my Lego City doesn't have an angled road at this particular point, but it has an angled canal. There we go. Speaking of roads, still got to fix that up. And you know what? This is actually a coffee shop right here. Like right there is a cafe. Maybe we could have another coffee cart out here to provide some stiff competition and put some seating in there. I'm going to work on those details another day, because look at across the canal. Oh my gosh, like what is going on here? That doesn't look good at all. So I'm going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plates, bring all those up to my desk, mills plate them, and just make that look more presentable, because my gosh, this looks so good, and then you look across the way, you're like, no, that doesn't look good at all. The first thing I want to do is improve the Spring Lantern Festival. When I mills plated this, for some reason, I didn't attach the 2 plates. So I want to adjust some of the mills work under there so it is one solid piece, because it's just easier to move that way. And I move this thing a lot because it's hard to place in a Lego City based on the height of it, especially if you're trying to put it like downtown. Now, because it's its own entity, I think there's a design flaw here. That design flaw is the fact that the fence just goes to there and to there. It's not completely fenced off. And because it's not completely fenced off, when I put it anywhere in the city, well, it's just like an open back almost. Doesn't really make sense. So I want to try and find as many pieces from my inventory as I can to try and replicate this fence design and try and carry that all the way around the model along with some of these inverted arches. But the issue is some of this vegetation comes right onto the edge of the plate. I don't really want to make this fence on another plate. I'd rather just keep this its own entity. So I'm gonna have to do something funky here to try and rework this, maybe shift some of this vegetation forward a stud, take out some of this rock work and reposition it, and just get this fence built around the entire thing. I don't know why I haven't done this in the past, because doing this just sort of seems like a no-brainer. That was actually a pretty quick and easy fix. Now it's all one solid plate, and I had enough parts to make a consistent fence all the way around the backside. Yeah, that's way better. Beauty. The next plate I decided to build was this half base plate here. This is going to go in front of the skyscraper, which used to go around the beam. I thought that this was a good way to increase the size of the entrance and just sort of add some color to it as well. So I've put 2 trees in these nice planters. I came up with these planter designs when I was building the staircase for Town Hall, so they match that. They've got the tiles around the exterior, put onto the 1x4 bricks with the forward-facing studs. Then I put some 1x1 bricks in the corners, along with some studs on top of that. And then I also tiled around the base of them in tan to continue that color down into the Mills plate. I was playing around with some more variations of color, but it just didn't look good. I think the tan and the green is enough color for this area. But I did decide to add these two benches here. I did a gold foundation for them, their supports, and then I just put some black 1x4 modified plates with the two studs. And I think this is going to be a nice entrance that's actually going to sit between that skyscraper, and then the entrance for the Spring Lantern Festival is right here. Actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm wrong. It's not the entrance of the Spring Lantern Festival. It's like the side. That's why I wanted to fence it off. I took a photo of the before because sometimes when I extract all these plates, it's hard to remember where they're going and what I actually have to build. So I look at this image and I'm like, okay, what am I building next year? Okay, let's grab this 16 by 32. Let's put a couple planters on it. I think that'll look good there. It's just sort of hard to visualize when you extract it all from the city. Even though that's not going in front of the entrance, it's still going to work in that position because there's tiles on either side. So there's walking space on either side. What am I going to do next? I decided it would be best to just place what we've built so far just so I can start to visualize what it's going to look like, and then I can sort of go from there. So we've got the Octane gas station, and I decided to build a little masonry wall here on the end, and then I also put a wedge plate there and one of those triangular plates. Once again, I don't have the tiles to make this look as good as it should. I need to order those triangular tiles. They come in so handy. But yeah, I think that looks better because now vehicles can be like, okay, I'm going to pull in here and go into the gas station and then pull out. So it's good. It's just a good way to end that street. And that's why I put the masonry wall there, just to protect the citizens of the Lego City. I think this can actually remain in play, like this plate here. I think it looks good in front of the Lego store. It's got the statue, a scooter rental area. You can buy a newspaper here. There's also a street performer, and then some picnic benches. And if I can figure out a way to merge that with like the farmer's market over here, I think that would look pretty sweet. I like this plate. Some of those trees, they might need to be pruned. Got some low-hanging branches there. Maybe I need to add just one more Technic piece on the bottom of this one to raise it up. But I think a minifigure can fit underneath those branches there. Or better yet, what I should do is put like a minifigure out there with a pair of clippers. Make it look like he's pruning the tree. But I think that matches up nicely with the Spring Lantern Festival. You can see it better from this angle here. I think there's enough walking space between the planters and the Spring Lantern Festival, about 4 3/4 studs. And then there's enough space on this side as well. And eventually I'll tile this off when I decide to build this skyscraper. Looks good, even though it's hollow. Yeah, I'll have to fix that up sometime in the future. I want to expand this construction site too, because I've got a half base plate of space right here. I'm thinking what I can do is just bring this fence out and have it start like over there, and then this will be the construction site. I think that'll be a good way to expand that and give this a bit more breathing room. And I think I'm going to reuse that walkway with the tree in the center and those quarter round tiles over here. I just got to change up some of the path work because it doesn't really make any sense, but I think that's a good way to connect the sidewalk over there in front of the fire brigade to the canal. When expanding this, I decided to modify the Mills plate, so I actually attached a 16 by 32 base plate to the thing, so this is an official expansion of the construction site. And I also added another entrance, similar to the one found on this side, on the original model. Figured I'd add that, and then I also expanded the fence so it goes all the way around. So it's consistent with the model. It's got the yellow 1x2 jumpers and then the tiles. Goes all the way around. I added the washroom right there, a little story happening. He's about to use the outhouse. And then I added this little vehicle here. I thought that was a good size. I think that blue one was too big. And then there's some texturing on the ground there as well with some 1x2 and also some quarter round tiles and just a few other miscellaneous items. I could add some more detail to this, but I think that looks pretty good. The minifigs sort of add to the story. Over here, I also added some fencing. So this fence never used to be here. I just moved some of these details over one stud, and then I was able to add the fence. Unfortunately, I only have these small fences. I'm out of the ladders. Otherwise, I would have made it consistent with this side. But either way, it fences it off. So now it's the official construction site, which is 1 base plate by 2 base plates. with the new and improved construction site placed. I like the look of it. Yeah, that looks cool. I know the fence goes right up against the Octane gas station, but whatever. Now it's like a closed off area for the construction site. I need to fix the roof of this though. Looks like I'm missing a corner plate there. So yeah, I just gotta grab a corner plate, then I can tack that back down, fix that up. In addition to placing the construction site, I also modified this plate. It was pretty easy to modify. I just changed the front 6 studs to sidewalk, so then we actually have a wide sidewalk here. It used to be all the dark bluish gray and also the green, and then I also got rid of the paths coming out off the side just because they weren't really going anywhere. I guess they go in the back alley. Maybe I didn't have to get rid of that one, but whatever, that's fine. Now there is a narrow sidewalk here that's only 2 studs because now I've fenced off the construction site so citizens can't walk through there. But what I'll probably do is throw a crosswalk in here. So if they want to get over there, they've got to take a detour, crosswalk, go this way, or go this way to the canal, and then eventually rejoin over here. So there are other walkways available, so it's not the end of the world that there's no walkway in front of the construction site. So I've got 3 more plates to develop here, and that's these 3 right back here, and my plan was to increase the size of that farmer's market. So I just put a bunch of the part bins away, but the slot pile has become quite large, and I did that in the dark. So unfortunately, for some reason, as of late, I have been getting like major headaches, and I've had one pretty much all day today, and it seems like it's every other day consistently. I think it has something to do with the lights in the studio because I have these big 8-foot LED lights, like they're right there. When I stand up, I'm not a tall guy, but look, they're like right above my head. So I think they're too bright and there's too many of them in here because these headaches only typically happen when I'm at work. So it has something to do with the lights, because when I got here today, I didn't have a headache, but now I have a headache. So I've got to call my electrician once again and get him in here and put dimmers in. I know a lot of people tell me that you can install dimmers yourself. I probably could, but it's a little more complicated because there's 2 switches. It's a double pole. I don't feel like messing around with that. I feel like I'll screw something up, so I may as well pay a professional to do it. I've got to give him a call and schedule it out this week, because I swear it has something to do with these bright lights right in my face all day. Has to have something to do with that. But yeah, let's see if I can get these last Mills plates done in the dark. So I took all the existing farmers market stuff off the plate, and the issue is I built this plate using like base plate green. That's what I'm going to call it. It's not the standard green that I use. So if I want to make it look consistent with the other plates in the area, I've got to re-Mills plate all this using my 4x4s. And then if I want to keep the path consistent, then I've got to redo all this tiling as well. Oh man, okay. I think it's worth it in the end because I don't want this green to be a different color just randomly for 1.5 base plates. I think that would be weird. Another thing that I don't think is helping the headache today is the fact that I've had the 3D printers running all day and they make quite a bit of noise. I need to get those downstairs as soon as possible. They've just been printing containers all day. So I'm literally just wearing my headphones in noise canceling mode with no music on or anything. Just using them as like ear protection, even though they're not that loud. It's just that I have a headache, right? So I ran out of 2x2 brick. So I am like scrounging to try and get enough 2x2 brick, digging through my unsorted parts and pulling them out one by one. So that's sort of slowing down the process of building these Mills plates a little bit. Oh well. I managed to get the Mills plates all made up there. And even that tidies up this area quite a bit. I like that. I actually made it one big plate, so it's 3 plates long. Great progress here today. Construction site, little pathway leading up to the canal. The canal is no longer a big triangle with right angles. It's like a nice angle, which is beauty. And we've got this Spring Lantern Festival integrated properly, and this little plate built out front of the skyscraper there. And once again, I think this one here is going to work where it's currently placed. Pretty big difference, that's for sure. So I think these 3 plates here You're gonna have that dark bluish gray trail leading through, and then they'll have the vendors of the farmer's market, and then there'll be a lot more trees as well, taller trees. So this is gonna be a forest market. That's what I'm gonna call it. The farmer's forest market. This is gonna be like a little mini forest in the downtown core here. And could this eventually change to more modular buildings? For sure, I would say that the farmer's market forest is gonna be like a placeholder for 3 more modular buildings which could go in here. I think that just makes sense to put the farmer's market there for now, because once again, this is all low here. The Octane gas station, the Spring Lantern Festival, that little plate, and the soon-to-be forest farmer's market, so we can get that nice visual as we look through the Lego city here. Just a nice little vantage point so we can see all the buildings. I think the trees will add a lot to this area as well. Unfortunately, right now, I just don't have it in me to build the entire farmer's market. It's gonna be laying hundreds of tiles and positioning trees and positioning minifigures and all those vendors, and I'm just not feeling it right now. My intention was to get that done, but even without that, I feel like I got a lot done today anyway, so I'm pretty happy with the outcome, that's for sure. Everybody, thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, and have yourselves a great day. Farewell.